Hey y'all, it's Angela here again at the Chicken Coop Homestead. I've got a little helper here. He is wound up tighter than a 2-bit toy. So, I wanted to show y'all, especially the ladies, maybe, some of y'all know how to do this, I know. But I was going to show y'all how to build a fire. And I know that seems very simple, but I know when our first house, we had a wood burning stove, and that was our only heat. Really, please? Hush. Hush. That was our only heat, and so we had to have a fire to be warm. And there was times when my husband wasn't around, and I spent a long time trying to perfect getting a fire going. So I just want to show y'all, it wasn't something that I did when I was growing up. We didn't have a fireplace. We just had central air and heat. Or back in the day, we had air conditioners and gas stoves. So building a fire was not something that I knew how to do. So I had to learn that skill. So it's been cold here. You're just kind of damp and cool. It's not like really cold. So we're going to learn to build a fire. So this is our fire from yesterday. So the first thing we got to do is clean out this fireplace. Now, this is an old wood-burning stove, and a lot of people would say this is very inefficient, but I am telling you, this stove can run you out of this house. I mean, it is incredible how well it does. This is the stove that was here when we bought this house. When we first moved here, my husband talked about replacing it, but after we used it, we realized it works great. So we've never replaced it. One of the things that I would like to show y'all, bring you in closer, but there is 2 brackets on the side of this. And one day I was looking that up and I found a model just like this that actually had a swing arm fixed for it. It's where you could put like a pot of beans or something on there and swing it into the fire and cook on it. And that is something that I would like to get done eventually. Is we have some friends that are welders, is to get a swing arm put on this stove. The other thing that we've done for this stove is we had kind of like a little firebox put in the bottom, and we don't utilize that as much as we used to, but we used to completely take the grate out, just pick that up, take it outside and dump the ashes. But here recently we just kind of scoop them out and put them in a bucket. So let me get started and getting this cleaned out. All right, so I got this bucket, it's almost completely full, but there are still coals in here. So we just set this outside, and eventually those coals will burn out before we do the next step, which is we use this as a garden amendment. And we sprinkle this all on my garden, in my tubs, raised beds, in my actual in-ground garden. That's what we use this ash for. It is a very good garden amendment. So, like I always say, here on the homestead, we don't let anything go to waste. So I've got all this cleaned out pretty much. I'm going to put the rack back in there, and then we'll go on to the next step. So the next step is gathering up some sticks. All right, so we live on 5.5 acres and we don't have an abundance of trees, but we have a lot of trees, a lot of oak and pecan trees. And so we're all the time picking up sticks around here. We don't let those go to waste. We use those as our fire starter. I burn them in my chimenea. That's what we do. So we just have a bucket here, and you can see we've overflowed the bucket. And when we pick up sticks, we just, add them to our pile here. So I'm going to grab some sticks and take them in there to the house to make the fire.
Come on. Come over here. See this big pile? There's a ton in there. All right, we'll be back after we get this loaded up. All right, that's close enough. Burn pile.
So we can burn them down.
Yep. Here, I'll get this big one.
I got that big one. I get this big one. And like it, this one.
Big helper today. Here you go. Got to get the rest of them in there. Come on. Got a bunch to unload, don't we?
Yeah. Fill them up so we can burn them.
We'll burn them in that thing. In the chimney.
The thing about having a fire and a fireplace is it is messy. There's no way around it not being messy. I mean, if you find a way, you let me know. So before I bring any wood in or anything, I'm going to clean up this space. This is just a tray we use. We set it up underneath our wood rack just to catch as much debris from the wood as we can. It's actually like a boot tray where you would take off your shoes and your boots and set them on it, but we use it up underneath our wood rack. So let me, with my helper, let me go dump this. So the next step, if you know anything about fires, we've learned all this in like physical science, is you have to have a heat, you have to have oxygen, and you have to have a fuel. So those are the three elements that you need to build a fire. That's one of the reasons why you need to empty out your ash pan, because if that is completely full in there, it doesn't allow very much oxygen to circulate up underneath the fire. So that's one of the reasons keeping your coals, your ashes out of the way will help you build a good fire. So the next thing we do is we're gonna just wad up some paper. We just throw it in there. Now this paper is just things like, you know, bulletins from church, paperwork from church, committee meetings we're on, anything like that that we have, bills that come in the house, things that we need to shred. I do have a shredder, but usually I find in the wintertime it's just easier to burn them. So that's what I'm doing here. Used to in our house, my husband did most of the fire building, but here recently, probably in the last 5-10 years maybe, I'm the one that kind of builds all the fires. I love a good fire, and so I'm usually the one that wants it, so I'm usually the one that builds it. Now, I don't ever burn any plastics or anything like that, anything that has like cellophane in it, anything like that I don't burn. It's usually newspapers or just plain copy paper, okay? Rip, you gonna help me build this fire? You gonna help me build a fire? So I've got a good stack of paper here, and I'm gonna put some sticks on there. Now, the sticks that you need are kind of small sticks. You need to put small sticks, then a little bit bigger sticks, then a little bit bigger sticks. You kind of work your way up to just putting a big old log on there. Amount of sticks in there, and let's go get some firewood and load up this firebox here. All right, so right out our back door is our firewood. We cut down a couple of trees this year. This is some older wood left over from last year. So we try to burn our oldest wood first, and then we have another stack over here. That's our newest wood, the freshest, so we're not using that. And then my husband's made these little, kind of like little boardwalks, we call them boardwalks, so that we can stack our wood, it'll be up off the ground, and then we can also walk and not have to walk in the wet to get our wood. But sometimes we still have to. This is a double stack, so we kind of stacked this all up this year moved that from over there to here, so now we don't have the walking area like we normally do. So let me grab some wood here. I'm gonna grab some small size to medium size logs here. So I lit the paper, and you can see I've got a good fire going here. But mostly that's burning right now is just the paper that I put in the bottom. It's still got to catch all these little sticks on fire. And that's why you put those little sticks in there first, because they will catch on fire quicker and easier, and before you start putting, and then a little bit of the bigger things on top. All right, so I lit the fire, but mostly what's burning right now is just the paper. And it's going to catch those little sticks on fire, then the bigger pieces of wood, and then we're going to add to it. But of course, bringing in the wood, I've gotten some wood over here. I've made a mess again, so I'm going to have to sweep again. Also, I always keep a pot of water on our fireplace. Just helps to keep the moisture in the air and not dry out the air so bad. All right, so I'm going to put these little small sticks that I have down here in the front, I'm going to put them on the fire, and we're going to kind of close it up here a little bit. My dampers are down at the bottom right down here, and I've got both my dampers open. And I have a nice fire. So let me get this cleaned up. So I just added a couple of bigger logs. As you can see, I don't have any coals up underneath the fire yet, underneath the rack that's holding the wood. But all the paper has burned up and the sticks are caught fire, and then the bigger stuff is starting to catch fire. So I went and then I added some logs that are probably about that big around on top, just a couple. You need to go slow building up your fire, because if you start off putting just a big old log on there, it's not going to catch, because it doesn't have the coals up underneath there to catch the big stuff on fire. So, and also too, you have a lot of stuff on there, you'll kind of smother the fire, and then it's going to be harder to get it started again, because you can't put all that little stuff back up underneath there to restart your fire. So just go slow in building up to like a big log on your fire, okay? So our fire looks like it's going pretty good. I'm just going to kind of stoke it. We're starting to get some coals up underneath there, which is good. I'm going to throw a little bit bigger log on. Now this log is a piece of wood that's kind of started to rot. Listen, like say on this homestead, we don't let anything go to waste. It's going to get burned. That's built a base for me to probably put one more log on here. Since I put that log on there, I've got more sweeping and cleaning up to do. That's kind of a start to finish building a fire here at the homestead. As those coals keep getting in the bottom, it will just easier and easier to go up to bigger size logs. At nighttime, we do try to put a big log on there so that it'll last throughout the night. And then maybe in the morning, all we have to do is clean out a few ashes and then start up with the coals that's in there. So that's our process. I just wanted to help a few ladies out there that maybe are new to homesteading, new to having to build a fire, and you're frustrated, because believe me, I was frustrated at the beginning. I was thinking, it's all wood, why won't it burn? I was trying to put too big a log on there too fast, too soon, and the fire was not ready for it. So thanks for visiting with me. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.